Whatever's going on, carjacking, kidnapping, time is not your friend here.
Exactly.
At what point did the police finally say, this is a problem, this young woman's been missing?
When we went, they didn't. They came to arrest us. That's
the devil couldn't have a demon. So then he said, Teresa, I'm sorry, I know that you're faithful. And I know that
the family of a young woman who was found dead inside a hotel freezer 6 years ago will receive a $6 million wrongful death settlement. A deal was reached in August, but the terms were not made public until today. Security video showed 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins as she appears to stumble around the Crowne Plaza O'Hare.
On the back of the car. He stated yes. After he stated yes, I said, and as well as your badge number. And I hear him whisper to the detective, badge number. So then he said, as everybody getting ready to round up to go, he said, you know what, hold on, I'm gonna speak with the coroners and see what they can do. So here we go, hours later, 5 hours, maybe a little bit more, but rounding it off, 5 hours later, they come to me and states, only I could come see her.
She leave with the employee, and them is in there grabbing their phone and their keys. She leave with the employee.
She went down there and said, you feel me? The whole time, but Maya saying she feel like Manish might ask her to do it, you feel me? But ASAP in the room, you feel me? You feel me? Now, whatever plan beneath her and it's the nigga that own the motherfucking situation, but it was
That I found that door, but I couldn't get in that door over there because it's locked.
Wait, go back.
You see how they got that black curtain?
I told you. It's not the doors. We went through the white doors.
Yeah, that's what I told you. That's what they showing us.
The white doors right there. Mom,
on the back of the car. He stated yes. After he stated yes, I said, and as well as your badge number. And I hear him whisper to the detective, badge number. So then he said, as everybody getting ready to round up to go, he said, you know what, hold on, I'm gonna speak with the coroners and see what they can do. So here we go, hours later, 5 hours, maybe a little bit more, but rounding it off, 5 hours later, they come to me and states, only I could come see her.
Did a inspection and looked for her. Well, I suspect at some point that they secured those doors with her inside. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to find out.
Do you want to go back to sleep? You can sleep after this? Or wait till I show you what they're going to do to you, coming up in this many minutes. For those who simply refuse to believe that Bono or Scott Morrison or Prince can be Luciferians because they all go to church, let me show you another Masonic ritual they do. And this is before Satanism or Luciferianism is revealed to the candidate. And then you tell me if Bono or Scott are capable of secretly believing in Lucifer. It all starts here with the Masonic apron. Different kinds signifying different grades. Have you guessed what it's hiding yet? The genitals. Pretty obvious. Like everything else they hide, once you can see. The genitals are the true working tools of a Mason. Freemasonry is foundationally a sex cult, like Satanism, because it all starts with sex, doesn't it? Life itself starts with sex. So the mystical force of the true God of Freemasonry hides in the hidden part of the human body. That's the Holy of Holies, covered by the Masonic apron, the seat of God, the seat of Lucifer. See here with Satanist King Diamond's artwork? The eye is attached to the horn god. But look at where the eye starts, from the waist down. That's where the apron of a Mason begins. And the one eye of Freemasonry is also the one eye of the penis, where life generates and springs forth. See the openly hidden secret of the Masonic square and compass now? You're looking at the sex act. That's the female in missionary position, and that's the male mounting her. The sex act. And the eye in the middle, with these emanating rays, is the orgasm and the ejaculation of the penis. See life shooting forth. That's how they see the sun and the earth too. The sun is the visible penis of their true God, shooting forth life continually. The light itself is the mystical sperm of the God of this world. The sun and penis generate life, while the earth and female womb produce life. The letter G, when replacing the I in the middle of the square and compass, stands for generation, sexual generation. The practical aspect of Freemasonry and Satanism's religion is that of a sex cult. You see Rod Stewart telling you he's a Freemason? By displaying the hidden hand of Freemasonry, also known as the Master of the Second Veil, and look at his other hand, taking the Masonic apron's place for covering his penis, which is the Holy of Holies, the seat of God for the Mason. And from the Grand Pontiff of Freemasonry, Albert Pike, hence the significancy of the phallus, the penis, or of its inoffensive substitute, the obelisk. Straight from the horse's mouth, the erect penis graces us, or should I say disgraces us, with its presence in every country in the world, marking its territory. The Masonic obelisk in our face, everywhere, making its bold statement, yelling, screaming in silence. This is another reason why we're considered the ignorant and stupid masses. Another example of hidden in plain sight. And here's an erect penis on the front page of the female Freemasonry magazine, The Eastern Star. I once stood in front of this obelisk in Sydney and I must have asked 30 people what they thought it was. Not a single one of them knew.
Discerning associations. As believers, discerning our associations and the influences around us is crucial. The Bible calls us to be wise in the company we keep and to evaluate the alignment of our associations with our faith. When we look at Bible verses about Freemasonry, we should ask ourselves whether these groups support our spiritual growth or pull us away from God. We must strive to form relationships that encourage us in our walk with Christ, ensuring our associations lift us closer to His heart, rather than diverting us from His purpose for our lives. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. Proverbs 12 verse 26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Proverbs 12 verse 26. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33. Proverbs 13 verse 20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs 13 verse 20. Faithfulness to God. In everything we do, including the choices we make regarding affiliations like Freemasonry, our faithfulness to God should always come first. The Bible emphasizes the importance of remaining loyal to our Creator and walking in His ways. When confronted with traditions or organizations that might conflict with our faith, we must choose to hold fast to our faith and principles. By doing so, we honor God and exhibit our loyalty to Him above all other influences. Our commitment to God strengthens our faith and serves as a testimony to others about His goodness and faithfulness in our lives. Joshua 24 verse 15. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24 verse 15. Psalms 31 verse 14. But I trust in you, Lord, I say, you are my God. Psalms 31 verse 14. Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will.
To the Freemasons of the higher degrees, the whole universe is in fact one giant and continuous sex act. This is the structure of Freemasonry. You can take this path to the top or this path. And way up here, you have the Order of the Mystic Shrine. The Mystic Shrine is what's found behind the Masonic apron, because that's where life comes from. That's the Mystic Shrine. You have to be a 32nd degree Freemason to be asked to join the Order of the Mystic Shrine. And then, once you're inside, you can be invited to join this order, the Royal Order of Jesters.
Greetings, one and all. I thought to create this several years ago, at the height of the debacle, but other matters were more pressing, and I was certain this lurid subject would be taken up by others, so I didn't soil myself with such dross. Yet to date, not a single documentary has been made. This is unfortunate, for the facts are scattered throughout many sources, and words can only convey so much. Therefore, this video was created to help cast light on a somewhat shadowy group, the Royal Order of Jesters. Many viewers are probably thinking, the Jesters? Again? Listen, pal, that stuff was over and done with years ago. The Jesters have since cleaned up their act. It was a minority of courts to begin with, and besides, the Jesters aren't really Masonic, so what does it matter anyhow? I would be inclined to agree, if all that were true, but this does not appear to be the case, as we shall see. Also, let me state at the outset that although many of the activities we shall be recounting are indeed illegal, it is my opinion that most of them should not be. So let me be perfectly clear. The basis of the criticisms we shall hear is not that these things are illegal, but rather that they are unmasonic. For a Masonic organization to behave like the Jesters defies all claims of what Masonry is supposed to be about. So to begin with, what is Freemasonry?
See, Freemasonry is like Russian dolls, and Satanism is at its center. Look at some of the pins and lapel designs for the Order of the Jesters. You can only join them unless you're at least a 32nd degree Freemason. Sex and debauchery, erections, the adoration of the phallus, masturbation, devils, demons, fallen angels. This one here, mocking holiness, reference to the anus, and sodomy, anything to mock the Bible. This disgusting one has King Momus sitting on a female's face, and hidden in plain sight is the square and the compass, for those who have eyes to see. Bestiality, yes indeed. This bagpipe player has an erection, and the sheep is running away scared. Self-explanatory. This character has an emphasized eye, if you can see that, and the skull has an emphasized eye also. The wink and the one eye of the Indian. And the secrecy, the symbols of secrecy. On the far right here, the monkey covers his groin area, symbolizing the Masonic apron, and the black and white dogs, well, they symbolize the checkered floorboard of the Masonic Lodge, which is sexualized male and female principles, the horned god, where evil and good don't exist. And in the first degree, Masons are given a Bible stamped with a square and compass, oblivious to the inherent mockery and the foundation of the whole fraternity, as alluded to here with a genuine Royal Order of Jesters private lapel. This is a certificate that a Jester receives after his initiation, and you see here their patron is named King Momus. And he was a god, or a daemon, which is a variant of the word demon, who was expelled from heaven, as the legend goes. Sounds just like Lucifer, because it is. Did Freemasonry disassociate themselves from the tax-exempt branch of Freemasonry known as the Jesters? Well, no, they didn't. Because, I mean, this is rare footage of an event within the lodge. Now, I'm sorry about the quality of this, but this is a Masonic lodge. So for Masons that want to say that the Jesters are contrary to Masonry, well, look. Look at these dirty old men. Masters of the lodge, with sublime morals. All married, probably all have daughters and granddaughters, yet still this, inside the lodge. But for you it should be obvious, because you can see the square and compass, the sex act, and the all-seeing eye right in the middle.
Freemasonry is often described as a system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. Aspiring Masons work to advance through different levels of initiation, known as degrees. Many Masons never transcend the first 3 degrees. Known as the blue degrees, these constitute the cornerstone of Masonry and contain various morality lessons, which the tools have come to symbolize. The compasses, for example, are supposed to remind the Mason to circumscribe or compass his passions, and the square to remind him to be fair and honest with others. Amongst these noble men lies a hand-picked group, the invitation-only Royal Order of Jesters. These must be Shriners in good standing, and must have rendered some outstanding, conspicuous, unselfish service to their temple in order to qualify. Whereas other Masonic orders have some animal for a mascot, the Jesters have a little man, the Billiken, whom, during initiation, they are made to salute by kissing it upon the rear portion. Jester lodges, known as courts, admit up to 13 initiates per year. Groups of initiates are termed a class, and are given colorful names, such as Spellin's Felons, or Larry's Loafers. The Jesters declare as their sole object the creation of good fellowship through the medium of gaiety, frivolity, and merriment. Its creed, wit and humor without malice, playfulness without destruction, and hilarity without vulgarity, within the context of members' Masonic obligations and community standing. This gay frivolity, known as mirth, is central to the order. Thus its motto, "Mirth is King." A hallmark of Jester functions is their performance of an elaborate ritual known as the Book of the Play, after which they receive a certificate declaring them subjects of their new king, the King of Mirth, His Majesty, King Momus. So who are the Jesters, and what are they about? Until it was taken down at the end of 2011, the Jesters' official website said the following: whereas most Masonic bodies are dedicated to charity, the Royal Order of Jesters is a fun degree with absolutely no serious intent. Their internal documents describe them as a luxury organization for only those who can qualify and who can afford it. The public has typically heard little about the Jesters, other than the occasional blurb in the press, usually mentioning little more than the name of the group. One article from 1947 described the Jesters as a fun-loving group whose members like to get together occasionally for a little mild drinking. It seems some 50 of them were going to fulfill the last wish of one of their brothers by drinking a case of bourbon in one sitting. Another article from 1951 calls them a subdivision of Shriners who live only for the next prank. Over the years, however, rumors began to emerge about the Jesters and the wild parties they allegedly threw. Then, in 1989, something happened. Few people know that their activities were publicly exposed some 24 years ago when a certain Miss C was arrested by the federal government for allegedly running a prostitution ring. This, however, was no ordinary prostitution ring, but rather a group of jesterettes, or jester girls, that were servicing fraternal events across the country. Her court testimony was astonishing. Describing the Jesters as a fun-loving and hard-partying offshoot of the Shrine, Miss C said that jester parties were always guarded by elaborate security to keep away outsiders, that guests were fitted individually with color-coded wristbands, and that armed police officers, sometimes uniformed, were paid $20 to $30 an hour by the Jesters to protect these events, with full knowledge that illegal gambling and prostitution were happening right in front of them. She told of one event in Birmingham, Alabama, where an entire hotel floor was sealed off for the girls, with a shotgun-wielding SWAT officer guarding the elevator, and how at another event in Chicago she was actually driven from one location to another by a sheriff's deputy. Upon inquiring about the need for such heavy security, C was told that a few wives might be prowling around trying to cause trouble. The government did not deny these allegations, their prosecuting attorney portraying her as the manager of a prostitution ring that serviced fraternal conventions across the country. Her attorney, on the other hand, portrayed her as a victim of the Jesters. Those Jesters, they're not the victims, they're carrying on to this day, he said. C, who had previously quit prostitution, was lured back into the trade at a Shriner convention in Milwaukee. She had been approached by the Tripoli Shrine to do some legitimate modeling in some of their skits. Once she arrived at the convention, however, she realized it was no innocent affair. She said there was illegal gambling going on, and that a hospitality room had been set up with topless waitresses, 2 of whom she recognized and knew to be prostitutes. C testified, "One of the fellows pulled me aside and said, 'I know where you can make a lot more money than the few $100s we're paying you for the skit.'" That, she said, was how she learned about the Jesters, whom, she was told, were having a convention in Chicago the following August. The Jesters sent her a written invitation early that summer, she said, asking her to bring along another woman. C said they had to send in photographs and attend a security meeting, otherwise it was, "don't show up." It was slow starting with the Jesters, she testified, because other girls had their preferences of events. But later that year she became one of the regulars, through the sponsorship of a veteran jester girl who had taken a liking to her. Of the Jesters, C testified that many of the Jesters are well-to-do businessmen, mayors and aldermen. According to the federal government, between 1984 and 1988, C dispatched Jesterettes not only across the country, but to London, Mexico, and many other far-flung locations. C, however, denied these allegations. After saving up a cool $250,000, C was preparing to quit the business and marry her new boyfriend, when she was scooped up by the feds, who, of course, confiscated everything. "I had a nice little nest egg saved," she said. "Now it's gone." So what became of all this? It sure had all the makings of a major scandal. Nothing. Miss C was sentenced to 6 months in prison and 2 years probation, and the case was dropped like a hot potato. The story was successfully squashed, running in just a few local newspapers. A spokesman for the Jesters denied ever knowing C, calling her allegations mind-boggling. And that was that. The whole thing got swept under the carpet, and for the next 15 years all was quiet in the realm.